Hi everyone, my name is Anne-Marie Band. Today is Tuesday, October the 31st, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. What we are looking at is, we'll start with oil. We've got a few things that are a bit of a macro focus for us, and we are really looking at 81.75 as the current floor in what's going on. We've had a fairly big spike that is coming off of a fade and now down into support regions that are now holding old resistance, new support. Could we have a continuation of downside pressure? We could. This is a fair place to consider buying oil within the overall range. You know, could we have a little bit more of a fade? Yes, I think if the jobs number comes in a little bit weak, that might be an issue. But for intraday trading, what we are looking for is a series of higher lows, which is what we have. We are now coming into the resistance area. So this would be the first place that we would say, okay, if I was long off the bottom, I need to take some profit here. And then make sure it doesn't break 82.55. Something like that, and then you can perhaps continue on the long side up ahead. Now, if you're thinking about a short, this really is also an ideal place to have a look at the short. We're taking a look at that 4-hour formation, 83.35. This is a region we bought like mad last week into the end of last week. Even though it dipped, we bought it off that level. So it's my suspicion that if we breach this level, the shorts are going to say, wow, I have to cover, and then it might send us into the 84 zone, somewhere around there. But at this juncture, people who are trying to pick the bottom are now sitting in a space where they go, I've got to take some profit and raise my stop. So that's what we're looking at in oil. Those levels again, 81.75 below, 84.20 above maximum range, and then, of course, if things start to squeeze to the upside, we could easily be looking at 84.80 and then potentially 85. But I do believe we're caught in a range, right? I believe we are range bound right there. We could use the USO to trade this from an ETF perspective. The chart is still making lower lows and still making lower highs from a wave formation, but looks a lot like the oil chart. And so if we look at a weekly formation, we see lower highs and higher lows. So it is really going to be the break of this formation that gives us the room to run, right? In whatever form or fashion that we can see. You know, do we want to say, hey, listen, let's use that, right? We could easily say, oh, that's interesting. We could easily say that's really what we're looking for, and that's the formation we're looking at in USO. I don't really believe this is a buy zone yet, simply because it's in a compression area, and that compression zone is going to have to resolve in some form or fashion. If you are bullish overall, I would say go very far out into the future and pick something like, 70, maybe even 65, and sell a put spread there. That's my suspicion. All right, let's go to SPY. We are continuing to lift. Notice we've come off of a floor in that formation. Remember, we were looking at this and we said, hey, you know what? Potentially a buy zone opportunity as we're coming into significant support, and the month is really doing that for us, right? Having made that low, a couple of days ago? I think as long as we keep our handle there, we're going to be in pretty good shape. My thought is, let's not break the low of the week. That's 412, a little bit up above 412. So here's the thought. Here we are. This is, let's go to a daily to see where this line is, actually. This is the support. We have the wicks. I don't like the wicks. It's up here, right? So my thought is, here we are breaking through all of this resistance right here. I think we have upward flow today. I think that upward flow is going to get confirmed if we breach this 417.30 area, something like that. Is that the right 417? Yeah, 417. What's the high here? 417.30. Yeah, we got it. Something like that. That 417.30, that's going to send us up, pullbacks or buy zones. Listen, to make it straightforward today, remember, we look at our current candle, 2 candles to the left. Low, higher low, higher low. High, higher high, higher high. Here's the breach. So if we expand up into these wick areas, we're going to see sellers at the first pass, and then the pullback is going to give us a buy zone. This is my thought. So far, inside week, I expect us to have an inside week until potentially Friday. FOMC, not going to say anything really. Levels to watch, 409.26, the floor, 412, key support area, 417, potential resistance break, and if it breaches that 417.50 and pulls back and begins to hold the zone above this congestion, Bob's your uncle, right? We know 415 is a big deal. So let's see how well we hold it, right? Let's see how well we hold that. That's going to be key, that 415 zone. All right, that's it for SPY. Let's go to Qs. I think it's very important for us to think about what big money might be potentially doing here. And I do believe they are advising a lot of their folks to go, hey, nothing wrong with trying to buy the dip here. It's a big breakout area from a weekly perspective. Let's see what we can do. And indeed, that's what happened yesterday. So take a look at what's going on. Low, higher low, higher low, higher low. But look at what's going on here. This is the first break, per se, above all of those zones. I suspect 351 is where this is headed to. And because this is such a savage candlestick, we've got a fair shot at really lifting off of the floor and catching a ton of the shorts flat-footed, right? That's where I'm thinking right there. So where is the floor of support here? It's 345. So as it comes to that zone, watch the area around 347. Make sure it holds. Or if you take a position, anticipate it can come all the way down there and manage yourself into that space, saying, all right, if I buy up here and it pulls back, am I able to manage that drawdown, right? You want to be very careful about that. Let's take a look at gold. Gold up above the 2000 area, right? It is really, that was a bit of a topping formation several days ago. Now it's in breakout territory, right? That is significant breakout territory. And so pullbacks should be buy zones, except if we come over to the monthly formation and we see that right up here is where we have major exhaustion. Now, this is making a higher low. So there is a lot of defensive buying. On top of that, hedge funds are really shorting the market right now. I just read a report from Goldman Sachs, from the great folks at TraderAid, that said that that was a really big deal right now. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the ES. Look at the big bounce. That's a really savage candle, right? That's big. It's retraced almost half of the entire week, and it's just Tuesday morning. So what do we anticipate? A little bit of resistance up ahead, potentially. 42.24 is a big number that we have been seeing, right, in times past. Let's move it over to here. 42.27. And then, of course, we have 42.85, right? Yeah, maybe 42.67, something like that, right? 42.77, somewhere around there. Now, look at what we're doing. Big drop down. So here's our thought process. Pullbacks have been buy zones. Look, low, higher low, higher low. High, higher high, testing the high. Now, we've been testing the high for a bit. Yesterday, we got up there and rejected, but we pulled back. It gave us a higher low. So what's the floor here today? My suspicion is the floor here today is 41.67. If it comes back there, I'm going to buy it. Where's my stop? 60, right? 41.60. Easy, 7 points. That's what I'm looking at. And so pullback's going to be buy zones. Do I want to buy up here? My thought is no. My thought is no. It is going higher. But if I buy here, I could have 35 points of a drawdown. So I'm either looking at 41.67 or 41.85 as my first fade into support, and then 42.11 to 42.20, right? That is clearly where I think price action is going to go, somewhere around this particular zone. And I wish it snapped a grid a little bit easier than it does, but there you have it. All right, so there it is for that space. I do not think that 41.37 is going to get broken because we are in a retrace, and a lot of these very savage candlesticks that we've had in weeks past have retraced because people are still buying the dip. Taking a look at the NQ, finally, same sort of thing. Traders trying to buy the base. This is still a buy the dip environment, but we want to be very careful about taking profit at the highs and resistance areas. So let's give that a line in the sand, and let's say, hey, 14,467 to 470, that's our high, mark it down. If we breach that area, we expect exhaustion. We want to buy the pullback. This is a negative formation, and that means upside pressure is going to get sold. You can see it from here. This wick gets sold, this wick gets sold, and that is what we're looking at. This wick got sold, this wick got sold. We are trying to hold the floor. So if you say, hey, I want to buy the pullback, I would say the open of that prior day, 14,336, going to be the region that we look for, along with the stop about 20 to 30 points below. All right, that's it for me, folks. Good luck trading. I'll see you on the platforms.